here to present to you a small project which is providing energy efficient cook stove and lighting to the street food vendors in the Philippines. We started working with the street food vendors because we see that there are very few organizations helping them, and the government is not even working with them because they are considered illegal. The Presidential Decree 856, which is the Code of Sanitation of the Philippines, classifies the street food vendors as illegal, meaning they're not supposed to cook and sell food on the street. So we know it's a big challenge, but we tried our best because of our commitment to gender and energy. And Intramuros is located at the heart of the city of Manila. It is also known as the tourist city. It's a walled city where the seat of the Spanish government stayed before. It has 8 universities, 2 hotels, St. Ferris Hospital, and several shipping agencies, an oldest church, a cathedral, and several historical places. It has over 100 street food vendors that with a capital of from 200 pesos or $5 to $50, and more than half of them are women. In Manila, where we have 10 million people at nighttime and 12 million people at daytime, we have less than 500,000 street food vendors, and they survive, through selling the food. They use this street food. 30% of the street food vendors do not realize profit. They are contented with just having food for their family. Sometimes breakfast and lunch only. Energy used for cooking is LPG, kerosene, charcoal, which consumes 30% of their daily capital. Credit facility is provided by individuals with 20% interest in a month or in 60-day basis with daily equal installment. Energy used for lighting are candles, kerosene, and illegal connection to grid with rental fee of 20 pesos per day. So these vendors, because their stalls they don't own the stalls and the land, they cannot be connected to electricity or water. So they buy water 7 times as much as metered water, and the electricity 3 times as much as connection to grid. More than 50% of the vendors inherited the business from their grandparents and parents. So they are illegal, but many of them, their families have been there for 50 years. Some on most of this business, now you see, now you don't, because they rely on credit facilities. The stalls are 2 by 3 meters small, and it's rented from Intramuros annually. For the past 2 years, the rental was not renewed because the Intramuros administration want them evicted.
Excuse me, but how can they be rented when they're illegal?
Yeah, that's the question. And the policy and the practice. So that's why we are there to help them, because we thought that probably recognizing them as what happened in one project we had in Quezon City would be a start. Giving them a space where they can, like in Bangkok, for example, when the shops close at night, then the vendors, are on the streets, and they're given credit facilities and support by the government. So we thought we could start and show the government that something could be done. So the project, we started with a research and a survey of the vendors' cooking energy practices, what they use for cooking, the roles of women, the gender roles, and the profit and vending, the capital and expenditure. We did also consultation meetings, and I picked up 2 objectives. One is to actually provide energy efficient cook stove and lighting facilities for the Sanamay, which is the samahan ng maninigda sa Intramuros, like an association of the street food vendors in Intramuros. And of course, to promote gender equality and women empowerment among this group. We did capability building activities in cooperation with several stakeholders. But the most important part is cooperating with the city health, where we have hygiene and sanitation. Because food poisoning is one problem, and health and sanitation is a very big issue among street food vendors. That is why they're illegal, because the government sees them to be unhygienic. But you can see the professionals and students depend on them, and even tourists love to eat street foods. Technology intervention was our purpose from the very beginning, but we found out that the assistance we did increased as their capacity to buy energy, to invest on energy increased. Microfinance was given to them, and this is the only part of the project that gives us sustainability. The project ended early 2010, but we are still working with them because we have that revolving fund through the energy intervention that we had. So we used several energy gender analysis tools and gender mainstreaming. We did this with the Commission on Women and the UP Community Social Welfare Development Department and the Women Inventors for the technology intervention. So we identified the gender issues. We learned about laws because there is a battering of women is also a problem here. When men ask money from the women who are selling the food on the streets and they are not given money, they beat the women. So we also identified gender and energy needs and matched this with the potential energy technology options that we have. The different cook stove serving example using fuel wood, charcoal, kerosene, and understanding the goals and aspirations of women and men. So after 2 years, we found the changing roles during the implementation of the project where, so men were already involved in many of the activities of the business. Before, men were hired laborers outside of Manila. So they leave the women and the children in the squatters, in the poor communities in the area. But when the business prospered, the men joined the women. And the men did more work. And they were asking us, so what do the women do? You can see that women now have time to manicure their hands and pedicure their toes. I should have posted here the picture which shows that. Meaning, because also they learned in hygiene and sanitation that personal hygiene is more important to see, to attract more customers. And also for the customers to see that what they sell are clean. So you can see the changing roles. And we found in this project that young boys prefer to stay in the business and young girls want to go back to school. So it's only limited to the 100 families that we have surveyed. The impact. The first year of our project shows an increase in income. And that was a motivation for men and women to really invest on clean cooking utensils, energy efficient stove, The second year, the women were able to, that's the first year you have 4 cycles of loans. The credit facilities give 20% interest. We give 10.5% interest in 90 days. So the savings that they have from the cooking and from the interest they pay to credit facilities, they use that to send their children to school and buy school supplies for the kids. They also have now time to discuss with other vendors and to attend other trainings related to business. Like if there are exhibitions on different food products or cooking contests, we bring them there. So they expand their knowledge and they also increase their aspiration in life. They get motivated to do more. On the third year, we find 30% of the vendors, of the 100 vendors, have freedom from debt, meaning their capital build up, because together with the financial facilities that we give them, we have a capital build up of 25%. The capital build up, they are now able to invest in many other things, like buying a motorcycle for ambulant food vendors who cook food and deliver to offices and agencies or in schools. They have now more time for the family. Now we see that husband and wife and the children have time in the afternoon to watch TV or to do some assignment, to help the kids for their assignment. Evidence of savings in the capital build-up has helped them to understand that saving does not mean that you save only when you have more than enough. But saving means that you have to force yourself to allot a certain amount of your income every day for the future or to invest to expand your business. Before, they thought that savings would come only when you have more than enough, which will never come. Because every time they earn more, they spend more. You know, the vendors, if the children ask 10 pesos, 10 pesos is nothing to them. They just, give. So if 5 times a day, a child would ask 10 pesos, that's 50 pesos. That's almost more than $1. But for them, because, money comes easily, they don't count it. So in this project, they realized that financial education means that you have to save and that you have to force yourself to set aside a certain amount of your savings every day. From the savings on energy, they are able to, because we use the Philippine National Bank, which is a government corporation, to issue checks for them to experience how it is to deal with a bank, bank transaction. So from that savings, the Philippine National Bank gave them offered them medical and accident insurance, which is less than $4 for a year. But they'll be able to get benefit of more than $2,500. So that's one good benefit from this project. We also encourage them to apply for Social Security system, which cost about $8 a month as their contribution. But after 36 months, they'll be able to borrow money, and if they are hospitalized, they can also get a refund from hospital bills. And also the PhilHealth, which is a requirement for every Filipino in the Philippines. They are able to purchase appliances. For example, if you pay, since the women are engaged in the business from 8 to 13 hours a day, because they open so early, cooking starts 4 o'clock in the morning, because cooking is not allowed on the street. So by 7 or 8 o'clock, you should have finished cooking. And then washing dishes is not also allowed. So they have to invest more on the cooking utensils, eating utensils. So they have to do the washing all after 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So, so investments from the savings were realized on the first year of the project. They also expanded their business. They have more customers. So they have now take-home counters. I mean, before people come to eat, because now they have better cooking utensils, they have new canisters, no longer the dilapidated cooking utensils that they have. They have now more, they have plastic, they use apron, they use hairnet, they look clean. Professionals within the Intramuros area now buy food and bring them home, so they don't have to cook anymore. And because the food is cheap also and reasonable or affordable among street food vendors. Some of them had invested on motorbikes and in solar lantern. The stalls also has an educational addition, because every month there is what we call a national celebration. In July, for example, is a nutrition month. So we put posters about nutrition, proper nutrition, required daily amount of food, the different kinds of cooking. Like, for example, we feature the cooking, the specialties in the east of the Philippines, eastern part of the Philippines, or we feature some kind of food contest also on best recipes and new recipes using fruits and vegetables. So the project also fosters family solidarity, and it helped the mothers to provide food for the children. For example, the case of Nena. Nena is a street food vendor who is a battered housewife. But after a year, she's able to convince her husband to help her in the project. And she's now, before she said, they skip dinner. Because her capital is just, you borrow 200 in the morning, you pay 250 in the afternoon. So she could only feed the child. And she does every morning. Every morning she has to get the money and return it in the afternoon. So in case of Nena, she said that with the project and with her forced saving, she's now able to provide dinner for the children and buy rubber slippers for her kids who are going to school. So it develops self-confidence and self-esteem. among street food vendors who have become trainer in other areas where we're expanding the project. They have become speakers in schools and even in communities. And one of our street food vendors has become a village chairperson in one of the 5 districts in Intramuros. It has established we have established partnership with solar lantern suppliers so that we're able to get a 1 bulb LED solar lantern for only $20, and that they can pay in a month. So instead of using kerosene and candle, they now use solar lantern. I will show you the picture later on of one of the stalls where we have put the solar panel, a small solar panel costing about $100. And then we have talked to the Pepsi Cola company to improve the kiosk so that there will be enough room for the cook stove inside the cooking, the 2x3 meter area, and also a storage area for their ingredients. Habitat for Humanity, we have started talking with the former Miss Universe of the Philippines, who is also the promoter and advocate of Habitat for Humanity, to help these street food vendors put up a home in the poor communities where they can buy like a community mortgage program, participate in the community mortgage program. So Intramuros now has recognized some of the vendors, although they are illegal, and they have availed of the catering services of the vendors in their in their office parties and conferences and meetings. We have established good relationship with the media, and we were featured in one of the television programs, popular program, and after that there were many requests for our expansion of the project in the 17 cities of Metro Manila. What are the challenges? One is political commitment. It's the illegal status of the street food vendors under PD 856, which is which is a hindrance and a difficulty that we are still tackling up to now. There is need to reform the law, but who will do that? We have started talking to the mayor, but the mayor says Intramuros is governed by Intramuros administration and not under the city government. So, but now there is a conflict again, because the city government is working with the Magallanes Street area, and that is also in Intramuros. And they have stopped the Magallanes vendors from selling on the street while there is conflict between Intramuros and the city government. We have started a dialogue with the city mayor and with the Department of Tourism, who is in charge of the Intramuros administration. We have asked for technical assistance from paralegal service like the Ateneo Law School, where they have this human rights advocate for Asia. They are working on the legal aspect while we do on social, education, and the economic aspect and the technology intervention. We need institutional support. We have financial assistance. I think, but the biggest challenge is that we have expanded our assistance because the vendors need suppliers on charcoal, meat, so that they don't buy the double dead meat, which is very cheap, but is bad for the health. We have also financed the fish and meat suppliers and the fruit vendors, and the bakers who put their products into the stores. So we have expanded our service to them. The biggest challenge is to scale up the project. Jerry's Cambodia has expressed its interest in the project. Our NGO partner in Vietnam, and the George Washington University Partnership for International Strategies for Asia is also interested. Dream Microfinance told us that they have started talking to the World Bank, and the Good Returns of Australia is also interested to work with us. So we're looking at the mechanisms, the finance, and the technical stuff with gender training, because many of the gender experts don't have technical training, and technical experts don't have the gender training. So here are the projects. So this is the typical Intramuros stall. Then you have the solar panel on top for lighting, and at the back you have our improved cook stove. So every time So we improve the stall. Even if it's small, it doesn't look like a street food. You know, it looks like a restaurant with colorful, presentations and clean dishes. So that's what we always emphasize: hygiene and sanitation. And then we have taught the vendors how to maintain the solar PV. So you can see there at night, you have that one bulb there, which is powered by solar. And then a couple started selling the stoves because the customers who eat in the stalls also request for the cook stove, the improved cook stove. We also have trained community women to produce the briquette, which they use for energy. So this is the installation. Look at that woman there. She's very much interested in how to. That is her kiosk anyway. So this is at the evening. Here you have. This is another challenge that we have on technology. Intramuros vendors doesn't want the vendors to do the grilling of fish and especially pork because it has so much smoke. So we're asking our women inventors to invent a griller that doesn't emit smoke. And also, what about dishwashing? Dishwasher, which will consume small space because the 2 by 3 meter kiosk is really too small for them to move around. The sad days is when the kiosks are removed from the area. So demolition comes every now and then. But once the government officials leave, tomorrow the stall is back to its place. And the happy part is, we have also our Christmas party. So you can find there the woman who got one of the gifts that we have. And these are the women vendors and the men vendors of Intramuros. So thank you very much.